Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about a very underrated way in order to improve your observation skills. Now, first of all, with observation skills, this is something that you want to be very mindful of because observing a little too much is not always a good thing. Let me give you an example. There was this one time when I went to this hookah bar to smoke hookah with roughly 8 folks. One of the folks was a girl named Niti. As soon as I park, I am about to walk into the hookah bar. I'm greeted by Niti. She's like, "We were waiting for you, Armani." I'm like, okay. So I see the rest of the folks. I sit down. I begin smoking hookah. And then we're just doing what a bunch of friends do. We're just talking and chit-chatting. Eventually, it comes to a point where apparently I scratched my nose and I began to tell a joke. And as soon as I did those 2 steps, scratch my nose and began to tell a joke, the entire 8 folks bust out laughing. And Niti, she's like, "See, I told you. Whenever Armani is about to tell a joke, he always scratches his nose first." And when she said something like that, I was furious because here were all these folks just laughing at me and I felt a little exposed. I noticed that Niti had this habit of observing me a little too much, noticing certain quirks that I did, and then she would articulate it out loud. This was something that I didn't like, because I felt as though she was nitpicking me. So with observation skills, you need to be very mindful of it with social skills, okay? I'm not saying that you stop observing people when you are having an interaction with someone, but do it in silence. Don't be like Niti, who's telling everyone and blabbing it out loud. So with social skills, observing out loud is not always a good thing. But with storytelling skills, completely different. Observing out loud is a beautiful thing. The difference between average storytellers and great storytellers is simply observation prowess. The great storytellers are capable of noticing things that the average ones simply cannot fathom. What is one underrated way in order for you to improve your observation skills? Think about it. It's to find a pet peeve and allow your mind to wander on it. A pet peeve is known as an annoyance that different individuals face. And whenever someone is facing a pet peeve, they do so in silence. They don't want other people to know that they get agitated by these small little quirks. Allow me to give you some of my pet peeves. I can't stand poor listeners. I hate it when someone is walking slow in front of me. I despise slow service at a fast food restaurant. If it's fast food, I want a fast delivery. You see? What else do I not like? I hate the sound of lawnmowers. I just don't like that. So these are some pet peeves of mine, right? These are activities that charge up emotions within me. Now, rather than taking the pacifist route where it's like, okay, well, when you deal with this, you must suppress it, okay? Because these folks, these fast food folks are having a long day, so don't do anything about it, all right? Just bury your pet peeves. My strategy is like, no, I'm going to first articulate my pet peeves. This is something that a lot of people can't even do. A lot of people just get annoyed from one activity to the next, but they have no clue what that activity is. Simply by articulating your pet peeves, you have already gotten a win. You brought your shadow side to light. Then I just want my mind to wander on it, okay? Imagine that I choose the pet peeve of people walking slowly in front of me. I allow my mind to wander on it. I'm not looking for any solutions or anything like that. I just drift off wherever my mind drifts. And that's when I think. Walking. People walk for different reasons. Some people, they walk for utility. They need to get from point A to point B. Other people, they walk for therapy. Imagine Jacob. He's having a very long day at work. He's getting chewed out by his manager, his coworkers. He has a high-stress meeting coming up in 2 hours. This is a guy that needs to unwind. So he pings his buddy and he's like, hey, Matt, you want to go for a walk? Matt agrees. Matt too is having a very long day at work. So now Jacob and Matt, they're going for a walk. They're not strictly doing this for utility alone. They're doing this more so for therapy. And if they're doing this for therapy, do you think they're going to be walking very fast? No. They're going to be walking somewhat slow so they can enjoy this moment. My mind is continuing to drift to this scenario. And that's when I think, all right, Jacob and Matt, I understand. You're not walking for utility. You're walking for therapy. You're having a very long day. I get it. But how about this, my friend? My friends, rather than walk slow in front of me, you move to the side. And that's when my mind is giving me a different scenario. It's like, wait a minute, Armani, look at roads where people drive. It's typically broken down into 3 different lanes. The left lane are for the fast drivers. The middle lane are for the medium-paced drivers. And the right lane are for the slow drivers. Okay? So why don't we have something like this for walkways? Where, I get it, Jacob and Matt, you guys are having a long day. Why don't we have a lane designed for you? Where you guys could walk slow to the side, where a fast walker like me can still have real estate to keep walking, rather than me going on the grass and trying to time myself in a certain way where I overtake you. And as I'm overtaking you, I feel a little rude because it feels as though that I'm rushing you, which I don't want to do. It's just that I typically walk fast. I don't want to deal with you. And just by my mind wandering on this pet peeve, I'm being presented so many different insights, so many different observations that other folks wouldn't even notice. Other folks, when they think walking, they just think walking. But when I think walking, I think of utility versus therapy. When most folks, they see a walkway, they just see a walkway. When I see a walkway, I see potential to widen it, then split it into different lanes for different walkers. And all of these insights are being presented to me simply because I am allowing my mind to wander on a pet peeve of mine. So what you want to do right now to try this out for yourself is, number 1, articulate at least 5 pet peeves. And this may take some time because most likely, if you're like folks out there, you get annoyed, but you try to suppress that annoyance, or you move from one annoyance to the next annoyance. Take some time and list out 5 pet peeves. Once you have listed out those 5 pet peeves, choose one of them and just allow your mind to wander. And you could set a timer for roughly 3 minutes and just keep focusing on this pet peeve. Why does it annoy you? And if you want to target it even more, just say, what can I do to make this less annoying for me? Just like for me, I gave the solution of the different lanes on a walkway. How can I make this less annoying to me? This is a brilliant way in order for you to improve your observation skills and to always notice things that other people are completely blind to. Many people, whenever they're going through a pet peeve, they're shouting out affirmations to be positive again. Or me, I'm like, no, use that annoyance and turn those annoyances into insights. So if you enjoyed today's talk, go on and drop that like for me right on below. And thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel.